everyone! Just like a forensic anthropologist can use a skull to determine if an individual was male versus female, we can also look at the pelvis of human remains to make that same determination. Now, what you have to keep in mind when we look at the pelvis is that human females are made for reproduction. So there are some very clear signs that we can look for in the pelvis, the way that it is structured and oriented, as opposed to males, that will let us see very clearly which is which. So the first difference we need to talk about is called the subpubic angle. So in a pelvis, that's going to be this angle right here. Okay, this angle is situated towards the front of your pelvis, and in males, this angle is going to be very narrow. If you look at the female next to it by comparison, you can see how much wider this one is than the male. And that is because a female needs the room there for childbirth. Another feature of the pelvis we can look at is the shape of the ilium, or the hip bones. Okay, so let's look at our male first. Okay, this is the ilium here. In a male, you're going to see that the shape of this is a lot more round and smooth here as opposed to the female. Females have wider hips, again, to accommodate for childbirth. So if you look at the female hips, you'll see that they are more pointed in this area. There's also a sharper cutoff here. One of the most telling signs that gives us information on the sex of an individual is the shape of the pelvic cavity, or this space here at the bottom of our pelvis. Okay, so here's our male pelvis. You can see this cavity here, it's heart-shaped. Okay, the actual space that you see is heart-shaped, and there's not a whole lot of room here. Okay, so that's a major important difference. If we look at the female, look how much bigger this cavity is. As opposed to being kind of heart-shaped, it's broader, it has bigger curves. And again, this all has to do with the ability of females to reproduce. Another more subtle feature we can look at is an area called the sciatic notch. This is going to be towards the side of the pelvis and is this space right here. So in our male, we can see that this is very narrow and it's tall. Compared to our female pelvis, it's very wide and broad. If you want to get a little bit less scientific on me and you have a male and a female pelvis to compare, here's a way to tell the difference easily and quickly. Make a fist. Here's my male pelvis. Can you get your fist out of this pelvis? If you can't, it's probably a male. You do the same thing with your female. We make a fist. There's lots of room here for childbirth. That's an easy way to tell the difference. So as with most things, it's really important not to just look at one feature of a pelvis, because all people are different shapes or sizes, and there's some overlap and some room to have features of both male and female in the bones by themselves. So it's very important that you look at multiple features to make the best, well-informed decision when you're trying to determine male versus female in the pelvis.